Guys, we have some exciting news.
The Forties Formula is going live on August 14th at the Green Collective at Funan Mall.
We are going to dive deep into the science, myths, and struggles around sugar addiction.
Breakfast and coffee are on us, thanks to the generous sponsors Guzman y Gomez.
It's a small and intimate event with only 15 spots, so it's first come, first served.
Tickets are only $20, and that includes breakfast and $5 towards your purchase at the Green Collective.
Come and join us for a conversation that might change the way you eat, think, and feel.
So when we look at Western cultures, they're very individualistic. But when we look at collectivist cultures, they're very interdependent and they have values such as social harmony, reputation of the family, multi-generational bonds, how you fit in to the bigger system. You are one person of many. You're not fulfilling your own dreams because you want to fulfill your family's expectations of you. I did not fulfill my parents' expectations. That created some conflicts. Who am I if I'm not fulfilling other people's expectations? When you have that opportunity to ask yourself what is really important to you, I think you already start setting some boundaries for yourself. I'm already running on low battery. I need to do something for myself, take care of my self-care, do something to fill my own cup.
Some people do struggle to say, I'm struggling.
Yeah.
I need help.
Can women really have it all? If it's not 100% yes, it's a no.
Hey, and welcome to the Forties Formula, your go-to place for insightful discussions on navigating the 40s and thriving in this transformative decade.
We're your hosts, Jasmin and Amanda, two women that are passionate about exploring the challenges and adventures that come with turning 40 and what lies ahead.
Welcome back to the Forties Formula, the show where we blend science, soul, and a whole lot of sass to help you thrive in your 40s. I'm your host, Jasmin Dhillon, an executive health strategist at Eat with Jasmin.
And I'm Amanda Lim, metabolic health coach and director of Lift Clinic.
Each week, we explore what it really takes to feel good, think clearly, and show up as your most powerful self, whether that's through food, hormones, movement, mindset, or just finally learning how to say no without feeling like a bad person.
If you love honest conversations with real women and expert guests who aren't afraid to go deep and occasionally drop an F-bomb, then hit that subscribe button, leave us a review, and share this episode with a friend who needs to hear it.
And before we get into today's episode, here's a quick word from our sponsor.
All right, before we dive into today's episode, let's talk about something that makes our lives way easier.
And tastier, because let's be honest, between work, workouts, and life, we don't exactly have time to wrestle the trolleys at the supermarket.
Which is why we've been with the Meat Club since the beginning of the Forties Formula.
Yep, they've had our back since episode 1 and tasty dinners on our plates too.
With the Meat Club, you skip the supermarket chaos and get premium nutritious proteins delivered to your door on your schedule.
It's a subscription that actually simplifies life. No last minute grocery runs, just quality meats, seafood, fruits and veggies always ready when you are.
Their mission says it all. Good food is the foundation of a great life. And with the Meat Club's delivery, it's coming literally to your doorstep.
This is where quality meets convenience, and we're here for it.
All right, TMC drop check. Let's see what we got here. Oh, well, first things first, you can't have Taco Tuesdays without snapper.
But what about salmon? Because that's definitely our favorite.
Okay, fair enough. But chicken breast, that's the workhorse we're eating every single day.
I think it's all about the chicken thighs.
Oh my gosh, chicken thighs. I don't know if I could get one down myself, but I do know that this mince makes a mean burger.
Who wants burgers when you can have a grass-fed beef eye fillet steak?
Okay, that is amazing. But with that steak, I would definitely be serving this delicious broccoli and spicing it up with these chilies.
Okay, you definitely won there. I have got some coriander, some cherry tomatoes. I mean, check out the color on those. And for dessert, strawberries.
We also got some fruit for the kids, which they will love. And one of the coolest thing about the subscription, an amazing quality chef's knife and a beautiful wooden cutting board.
Honestly, it's the easiest way to eat well without overthinking it.
So if you're ready to upgrade your meals without adding to your mental load, head over to themeatclub.com.sg.
Sign up for the flexible subscription, no lock-ins, just high quality proteins delivered straight to you.
And don't forget to use our code TFF12 to save $12 off your first order.
We'll drop it in the show notes or you can find it on our Instagram.
The Meat Club, where quality meets convenience.
Today's guest is someone who embodies reinvention, emotional intelligence, and real talk. MARISSA NASUTION. You know her as former MTV VJ and TV host, but these days she's also a trained psychologist, wellness coach, and conscious parenting advocate. She's lived many lives, from red carpets to research papers, and she brings all that wisdom into how she's raising her daughters, supporting other women, and breaking generational patterns. In this episode, we're diving into one of the hardest things for women to do, setting boundaries and learning to say no, without guilt, shame, or apologizing for having needs. You're going to want to take notes, grab yourself some coffee, and settle in. So let's get into it. Hi, MARISSA.
Hi, thank you so much for having me today.
Oh, we're so excited to have you here.
Yeah.
So before we get going, I want to know, why do us women find it so hard just to say no?
Well, you're starting off with a really heavily loaded question.
We go in guns a-blazing, girl.
I think there's lots of factors why we women have a hard time saying no. And I think one of the things is that we have so many roles that we play, that we carry within us. So we're all daughters, we might be siblings, we might be wives, we might be mothers, but we also might be entrepreneurs, corporate career women. That comes with a lot of responsibilities, but also a lot of expectations. So when we look at society, how society has created certain expectations for us women and how we always try to fulfill those, that I think really drives this internal pressure that we have to people please, to take on opportunities or say yes to things that we initially already know we don't want to say yes to, and how we live our lives, looking to always fulfill other people's expectation or society's expectations instead of filling our own cup.
It's really hard, isn't it? And I think the other element is growing up in Asia, being Asian, you get this sort of good girl pressure. You know, you have to listen to your elders, you have to do what they say, and you can't go against what that is. Do you think that was something that you struggled with growing up as well?
I did. I always try to explain it in a way because I have Western roots, but I also have the Eastern roots. So my mother is Indonesian and my father is German. And I always find this internal fight within me. What am I and how do I feel? So for example, let's try to see this concept a little bit from a cultural point of view, right? So when we look at Western cultures, they're very individualistic, which means that there's an emphasis on being independent. So it's really on cultivating your independent self. But when we look at collectivist cultures, they're very interdependent and they have values such as social harmony, reputation of the family, multi-generational bonds, and also harmony of the community. So you see yourself in these collectivist cultures, predominantly Asian cultures, how you fit in to the bigger system. You are one person of many, whereas in Western cultures, the focus is on yourself and how you develop yourself. When we look at the image of the traditional good girl, the good girl in an Asian culture context might be stereotypically the quiet one, following rules, that then can also manifest as being shy, or your belief of being shy, for example, or your belief of you're not capable of doing things because it goes against other people's wishes. You're not fulfilling your own dreams because you want to fulfill your family's expectations of you. So it's really hard how to have this conversation because there's so many different angles to look at it. But when I bring it back to my own story, I probably can share some personal moments where we had this huge conflict. When I was expected to go to university and I had my Asian tiger mom giving me the 3 job opportunities that I had. You can either be a lawyer, you can be an engineer, or you can be a doctor.
Of course.
You cannot be anything else.
Where's doctor? Doctor has to be on that list.
And I think that many who have Asian parents can empathize with this conversation. And I said to my mom, actually, back then when I was like 18 years old, I was like thinking of becoming a psychologist. And she's like, no, that's only for crazy people, you know? Because there was this huge stigma around mental health and what it means to be a psychologist. So I said, okay, I'm going to do something totally different. And then went into the television industry.
Which was so different.
It was so different. But I did not fulfill my parents' expectations of being the firstborn child, going to university, going down this path that has been laid out for me already from probably before I was born in a way. And that created some conflict, but that also fueled probably my inner internal conflict of who am I if I'm not fulfilling other people's expectations? So I learned very early on that to become an independent self, you also need to be able to do things independently. You need to earn money at 19. You need to figure out how to live by yourself and all of these things.
It's funny you brought up the 3 career paths because I actually did study law at university. So it was like, tick. Yeah. But, you know, like one of the things that was also drilled into me growing up was, when you get married, you know, you're not just marrying the guy, which is like the independent side, you're marrying the whole family. And you've obviously married into an Asian family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, you know, it's funny because you're right that when it comes to Asian culture, it is that whole sort of wider element and that wider piece. Because it's not just you, it's everyone.
That's right. It's not just you. And
Yeah.
I think this is also something that you have to be clear, especially when you're joining forces and joining a family. What are their expectations? And I think this is also a point where maybe many couples don't really have open conversations about it, especially when you have 2 different cultures that come together, that both sides are very aware of the values each side has, how to have a harmonious relationship, how to have a harmonious generational family. I think these are all very important points.
Do you live in a multi-generational home?
I do not.
Okay.
I always joke with my husband. My husband's German as well. So I flew all the way to Asia. I built a whole life around Asia just to end up with another
Just
German
to find
guy.
yourself a German.
Exactly. But we share the same values. And both of our families don't live here in Singapore. So it's just us who are here. But it was important for us to discuss these things when we were building our own family, our own small family. What kind of family values do we have? And what do we want to pass on to our children?
You're a mother of girls.
2?
Yes. The opposite to me because I've got 3 boys.
Okay, boys, mom. Yeah.
But has motherhood challenged you in how to say no? Because, okay, when it comes to the kids, I feel like the only word that comes out of my mouth is no.
That's so true.
But, you know, like, do you find now that, you know, having to say no to other things is causing mum guilt or sort of other feelings being invoked inside of you?
When we look at being parents in general, right, I feel that most of us will prioritize our children's needs before our own. We drive them around town every day.
Oh,
We
yeah.
That is definitely better.
fill their calendars before we fill our own. And I wholeheartedly do it out of passion and out of love and care. And I do enjoy that. So when I became a mother, it really changed my life. It changed my life because I got this opportunity to reprioritize what my purpose is, what I want this new chapter in my life to look like. So when you have that opportunity to ask yourself what is really important to you, I think you already start setting some boundaries for yourself to help them also set these boundaries. So yes, I do say no to a lot of things, but when I say no, I ask myself, why do I say no? So it's either saying no to the children for very safety related reasons, for example, but then also saying no to lots of social things for myself where I feel like I'm already running on low battery. I need to do something for myself, take care of my self-care, do something to fill my own cup. And then I would say no to maybe social gatherings or like meeting up with people where I feel you need to make these priorities. So if I'm running on only 20%, I cannot be 100% to the people that I want to serve and I want to take care of. So it's really important. And I think this is also maybe an invitation for the women listening to have this conversation with their partners, because lots of them feel that you have to always show that you have it together, but you don't. You don't have to play this mask or this role all the time. It's important to also have a conversation with your partner and saying like, I am running on a short fuse today. You need to step in and help me, and also ask for this help, or say, I need to just get away for a day just to focus on myself, get a little bit of headspace, get a little bit like emotional decompression. So all of these things are really important. And then you can come back and then you can step into your role as a mother, or your role as a wife, or your role as an entrepreneur. You can be then much fuller.
Yeah, I think that's so important, that communication element, because some people do struggle to say, I'm struggling.
Yeah.
I need help.
Yeah.
And to their own partners.
Yeah.
That's what always is crazy to me, where it's like the person that could help you the most and that literally should help you the most, because those kids are half his. Don't ever forget it. Okay? Like, you know, like I didn't make them on my own, bro. That's the person that I find a lot of women struggle with that boundary the most.
Yeah.
And I find this too, just professionally, right? Thinking about fitness and nutrition. A lot of times like, oh, you know, I want to eat healthy, but my husband doesn't want to.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, shouldn't that be your number one fan?
Yeah.
Isn't that the guy in your corner like massaging your shoulders?
Yeah.
That's not the guy that's bringing you down in the ring.
Yep.
Right? So
I agree.
I hear you, girl. It's like that boundary with your partner, I think, is a really important one to work on.
It is. And it's in a way because we think that we have to do it all. When people say like, can women really have it all? I always like to say, yes, you can have it all, but maybe not all at the same time.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, fair.
So take the time. If you want to focus on your children whilst they're small, do that. It's okay to not have a high-flying career, the perfect family, and take care of your fitness. Just do what you can, but you also need to be fine with it. When you set yourself unrealistic expectations, you have to really look, can I fulfill all of these things on my to-do list in a day? Yeah. Because if you can't, you just get demotivated, you feel low, you question yourself, and you like spiral down. But if you really just take 2 steps back and say, hey, what is really my priority here? Yeah. What can I do? And then have this conversation with the partner and say, I can't have a 9 to 7, for example. I cannot have a 9 to 7 p.m.
Which is actually the real office time, isn't it? Like no one finishes
Exactly.
at 5.
Let's not say 9 to 5 because it's not 9 to 5.
Not in Singapore, no.
Exactly. So if your priority for the first years of motherhood, for example, really is to like be there with your children whilst they're small, then say that and then make it work. Because I think it is about having this communication, but also really set your own expectations, and you don't have to fulfill society's expectation. You really only need to fulfill what you want to achieve in your family.
And that's so important, like looking after that circle where you've got control.
Yeah.
Because I think this is the problem. I think you kind of try to control every element and it's just not possible. No. You can't do it all.
You will burn out. I've been speaking about identity burnout, because you burn out as a mom, you burn out as being a small brand entrepreneur, maybe you burn out in your finance career, trying to keep it all together. Yeah. One day you will just like find yourself like in shambles and like asking, why am I doing this? Why am I having then suddenly maybe some health problems and all of that? It comes together. It's a really holistic picture to look at.
Yeah. You can't just focus on the one thing. It has to be everything.
No.
Amanda, can we talk about how clean Guzmini Gomez's food is? Like truly clean, not the it has lettuce, so it's healthy kind of clean.
Oh, totally. GYG is on another level. There's no preservatives, no artificial colors, no weird additives. It is just proper, real food.
I read that they went through 21 versions of their corn chips before they found the one. Now that's commitment.
And they fly in their avocados and tomatoes daily from Australia to Singapore. That is the level of commitment I want in my food.
You can taste it, whether it's the burritos, the bowls, or those Chipotle seasoned fries. You just feel good after eating it.
And it's really why my entire family keeps going back. Clean is the new healthy, and GYG has been leading that charge since day one.
They've literally reinvented fast food. Who says it has to be dodgy and deep fried? Not on GYG's watch.
You know, when you think of these things as silos, right? Okay, so this is my career, and this is me as a mother, and this is me as a friend. That is definitely not how it works, by the way. It's like, it's all this big circle. And if you think about like a hoop, you know, it's like a hoop, but like a flexible hoop, you pull one side, like the other one has to go in a little bit, right? So it's like, if you're really excelling as a mom, like slaying it there all the time, like obviously the career aspect is going to pull in a little bit, you know, but the circle is still whole.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I think that speaks to what you said about you can have it all, but maybe not at the same time or not at the same level. That's all right.
Not saying that if you prioritize your career, you're a bad parent. Not at
Definitely
all.
not.
But it is important that you know what your priority is and you're aligned with that. And you go after that, not what somebody else tells you to do or not what somebody else expects you to do. And that's, I think, again, to tie this back in, why it's so hard for women to say no. Because you think you have to excel at all the time. But we're not all perfect and we don't have to be. I think that's also like something very important for women to realize. It's okay to not be perfect.
Yeah.
One of the tools that I use with my clients is we look at like your priorities and we're like, right, okay, you got a number out of 10. That's basically everything. Now you need to tell me how much of each of the priorities that are important to you are you going to assign, that section, that number to. So if work is 6, then you've got to look at family.
Yeah.
You've got to look at your health. You've got to look at, being active, your friends. Like how much are you then going to sleep? Like all of these things.
Yeah.
How much are you going to distribute amongst those things? And then we've got to look at realistically, how are you distributing your energy, your time?
Expectations mismatch, right?
Yeah.
Right. So your career has gone from MTV VJ to psychologist.
Yes.
You've had a massive change and a massive pivot. Now, obviously, high pressure world. Has there ever been a time where you had to say no to an opportunity and people thought you were absolutely batshit crazy? It was like, how did you say no to that?
How did you turn that down?
Very good question. I pondered on this for a while. I'm going to tell you 2 things. So I had one opportunity, like when I was straight out of my master's, where I could have like immediately went on to do a doctorate, which I would have loved. I'm really a little nerd inside, so I would have loved to do that. But it would have cost me to move to the UK for 1.5 years, and I could have done like 1.5 years here. And that was simply not possible. It was not worth it to get my whole family and move to a new country in this phase and stage that we're in at the moment. Was it crazy to say no? Probably yes. But at the same time, back again at priorities, I cannot have everything at the same time. So that will just need to wait because I have a different priority, which is now being here with my children and really being there for them in this early phase of their life. And maybe when they're teenagers and don't want to hang out with me anymore, I can do all of these other things that I just had to put on the back burner for a while. I'm absolutely okay with that. And I think that's the most important thing. Like I don't have regrets because I have other priorities currently in my life. And this is like something that everybody needs to figure out for themselves. Another thing, opportunities where I had to say no. This is like in the early 2010s, before social media is what it is today. There were in the showbiz industry opportunities that you could get if you would probably take on some indecent proposals by powerful, much older men. Let's just say that, right? So if we all like look at the Me Too movement and what happened there, that's a real thing. And I still believe that it is in the entertainment industry a real thing. So I did have some opportunities that I shut down that could have advanced my career, but it was important to figure out what price would I be paying. And for me, like my thing that I always like told myself is like, yes, you could take this to advance your career, but would you be able to look at yourself in the mirror every day, knowing that you went against your gut, your values, the things that you believed in. And that also helped very early on to find the strength in your own personality and character to say no to many things. Because if I can say no to these kind of things that would have like propelled my entertainment industry career, then I can say no definitely to lots of smaller things as well. And it just really helps in building character. Once you really know your boundaries, it's important to like know what are my values that I really don't want to go against. Like I stand for, maybe it's loyalty, maybe it's family, maybe it's time. So if somebody crosses these boundaries and pushes them, it helps you to find that strength within you to say no. Until here, but not any further.
Say the big no, right? And then the little no's are easy.
Yes.
As long as the big one gets no.
For you, saying no to those types of indecent proposals would have been hard at the time, because it's something you're like, right, I'm starting this career. This is going to help me. I don't know how many people would, not that I'm saying I would have, but what I'm saying is.
What are you trying to tell us, Jasmin?
No, for some people that would have been no, because they would have been like, oh, maybe I don't know enough. Maybe, if I do it this once. Okay, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm currently listening to the P. Diddy trial. So, all of these things.
Yeah, but relevant.
They're like
it is
all playing on my mind. Like, geez, it's like, some of these people felt that they couldn't say no.
Yes. Yep.
And a lot of it sometimes comes down to how do they say no to themselves? Because I guess they don't know what they want. And maybe at the time they felt that there was no other way out of that situation. Yeah. Like, do you have any advice for women or even younger girls who are in a situation? Like, how can they help themselves and sort of, and stand up and speak for what they actually believe in?
There's like one saying, it goes a little bit like this. If it's not 100% yes, it's a no.
Yes.
We can unpack the details later. If your body, because it's not just your brain, right? It's your body is also emphasizing we are not safe. We are feeling anxiety. We're nervous about something. You probably just feel it in your hands or like with a faster beating heart. So your body is trying to tell you we are going against values, our core values, things that we believe in. We need to get to safety here. And it's hard when you're in a situation where you need to say no to something that could jeopardize maybe your career, progression, that could jeopardize maybe also relationship with your friends, where friends maybe expect something from you and you have to say no because I cannot do that. I don't want to. Because usually it's that you don't want to, but you end up saying yes to something afterwards, and then it's not going to be fun. And you do it usually with resentment, you're frustrated about it, and that also fuels this negative narrative that you then have. I think how to learn to start no is, first of all, before jumping to your usual yes, because if you're a people pleaser or you have like that kind of traits, it comes easy to you to say yes to everything. Can you take on this extra work? Yes, sure. Yes, sure, I do it. And you realize, why did I just say that? I didn't even want to say that. So introducing a pause to gain awareness of what is actually going on here, take a step back from your routine answers that you would go to, and really try that in conversations. Usually I would say it's more about listen, and before, it sounds silly, but before answering, just think about what you're going to say instead of just jumping to conclusions here and there. And you can use that with your friends. Try saying no. I had a phase where, especially when I was like early in Singapore and I've just made some friends, some mom friends, trying to build connections, I would say yes to everything. Yes to every play date, yes to every social gathering, although I already knew I did not want to. I wanted to just be at home, take a rest, or be with my kids, or just go even like on date night with my husband. It was really hard because I felt like I would be missing out on an opportunity. You're missing out on a fun night with your friends. You're having this like FOMO. And then most of the times you realize that you actually didn't miss out on anything. Yeah. So just really introduce it in your daily life before saying no to the big things. Then probably say no to the small things first.
Yeah.
I mean, we have like a crazy reputation in our circle of friends, my husband and I. So we have a 5-year-old, 3-year-old, 1-year-old.
Yep.
We have yet to have a birthday party for any of them. We don't do it. Because first of all, they have not asked for one.
Yeah,
they have attended birthday parties. They're aware they exist.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They themselves have never requested one.
God, I should have followed your suit
And
now.
we have no desire to host a bunch of 5, 3, and 1-year-olds in our house. So we just don't do it. And I said, like, at a certain point, when they ask and they say, I would like to have a birthday party, I would like to have these, friends invited, we're happy to do it. We're not like weird ogres.
Yeah.
But it's like, I know that saying yes to that, or creating that experience out of nowhere because they didn't ask for it, is going to bring a ton of stress, a ton of financial output, a ton of commitments into my space that I don't want.
Yeah, you don't need it. You don't need to.
We don't need it, and they don't need it. We celebrate their birthdays, by the way.
I know.
This really makes us sound like terrible people. We go to Legoland, you know how we do.
Yeah.
But it's like until they express that, it's like then I'm just creating that for them and really creating that stress back for me.
Yeah.
So what the F
Honestly, you're so lucky because I have done a birthday party every single year since I was 1 year old. And now I'm like, fucking hell, this is like so draining. It's
Well,
so
you're a pro
hard.
now is the backside of that.
But, at one point, so I've got twins.
Yeah.
And at one point we decided to have a double class party. And obviously when it's a double class party, the parents come. So we had, let's say 60 kids plus parents. And I was just everywhere.
In your home?
No.
Oh, I was like, absolutely not.
No.
Yeah.
Luckily not in the home. But it was stressful.
Yeah.
Now it's like to the twins, I say 10 kids, that's 5 friends each. So.
That's a total true.
It's true.
But then there's my son who's going to be 10 soon, and he probably will be 10 by the time we do this. So his party has probably already happened, and he's like, right, mummy, I want a party bus.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Dang.
I know. He's like, I want to do this, and I'm just like, oh my God, how do I now sort this out? Because
Where does a 10-year-old's party bus go to?
Yeah,
You?
it's very
Or like-
well, because he wants to go to, and I'm sure this has already happened, and I'm thinking this is what is going to happen.
Yeah.
He wants to go to, what's the Wet and Wild in Pasir Ris?
yeah.
Wild, Wild, Wet.
Wild, Wild, Wet.
Which I always called Wet, Wet, Wild, and my husband's like,
Me
don't say
too.
that. Yeah, he's like, don't say
Because that
that.
sounds way
It's a
better.
different thing. Yeah, it's a different thing. Yeah.
But isn't that the American version? Isn't there one in America?
We have Wet and Wild.
Oh, which is what I just
again,
called
which-
it, right?
yes.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, yeah, so he wants to go there.
Party
so
bus to the water
Yeah.
park. I mean,
That
that's
sounds like fun.
Living
I
the
it
dream,
does,
man.
but it's going to be a bunch of 10-year-old boys. So I've said to my husband, you can go in the party bus with them. I'll
you there.
drive up.
Yeah,
I'll drive
see you in
up.
the wave pool.
Yeah, I will be listening to my own music and my own way of doing things. Back to the women. So a woman who spent like 40 something years saying yes to everything. I know you've already said, to take a pause, but how can she really take that step and feel more confident? Is it like a mindset shift she needs to work on? Is there some kind of, gratitude practice? Is there something that she can do for herself to really make that easier? Because it can be hard. It can be really, if you've already spent so much time saying no, it can be hard to, say, oh.
Absolutely. And I think it's also because if you have said yes to lots of things, it comes usually as a shock to the other person who is hearing the no. It's like,
Yes.
where is this coming from? You need to figure out what your values really are. And that's then how you can build these boundaries around you. So what is really important to you? So there is lots of resources on the internet. If you type in like core values, how to figure them out. And it gives you some prompts to figure out what you really care about. And then figure out what triggers you. So when we say no, it can be like to different things, right? Is it, how do you feel like when you're triggered? When you say yes to something that should be a no, you feel it within your body. You get frustrated, you're resenting the work that you do, or you took on like something extra that you definitely didn't need to. And then you ask yourself why you did it. I think it's like having this moments of reflection instead of just brushing it off and just saying, oh, it's okay, I will just figure it out. You really need to reflect like, why did I do this? Where is this coming from? Have you been conditioned from a young age to be like this, be people pleasing? Because like, for example, never were allowed to say something against our parents, our relatives, our grandparents. It can turn out later as a people pleasing factor where we are afraid to confront somebody. There's lots of people that I've spoken to who said like, I am great at my job, but like with my family, I'm very conflict avoidant. I don't want to raise anything because they want to keep the social harmony as well. So I think it's about taking the time to reflect on the boundaries that you have or also the boundaries that you don't have. Are you usually saying yes to when it's actually a big no? And to figure out that relationship, where it came from, why it's still happening, and what is the reason behind it. Is it fear? It's very hard for adult children of maybe emotionally immature parents to have conversations about their childhood with them because it always gets like brushed off. I hear the sigh. And that is something that you need to figure out. And I think also, again, you can ask for help. You don't need to unpack big topics in your own head. We tend to think that counseling or therapy or seeing somebody is just if you have major issues. No, any form of distress or unpacking that needs to be done, it's better to have a very objective person who doesn't know you to help you through this phase of your life or through this narrative or story that you're currently experiencing. Your partner is usually way too close to you. You don't want to really open up your deepest and darkest fears, thoughts, behaviors, and secrets to somebody that you share a house with, that you share a life with. And your parents are usually also not the ones that you can talk freely with. Even your best friend.
I guess they become part of your story, don't they? So whatever the story is, you know, they're intertwined in it in some way.
Yes. And often it's easier to just like speak to somebody objectively for a couple of weeks. Then you maybe have resolved it. You feel better. But then just letting it all go. And I think this is this misconception that people still have, that you need to have something major. If it feels major to you, it is important. Yeah. It is important to sort it out.
And if it's a stumbling block for you to achieve something that you want in your life, like clearly you need to, you know, find a way around that block. You know, I think as coaches that happens with us a lot as well. You know, it's like I had a client in my office the other day. It made me think of her so much when you were just saying these things. She is in her 50s now. Yeah. Adult children that still live with her. Mm-hmm. So her daughter put her laundry out on the stairs. Yeah. And my client was like, I'm not doing anything with that. Yeah. And then her daughter got home and said, my laundry is still out.
Oh my God.
And unfortunately, my client cowered and was like, oh, I'll get it done. And I was like, no. I was like, okay, so next time when we face the situation. And she said, I felt bad saying no because I have always done her laundry in the past.
And she hasn't had that conversation.
I was like, she is 19. Yeah. First of all, number one, your past doesn't dictate your future. So you can set a boundary now, even if you've never set it in the past. Yes. So like that can definitely still happen. Secondly, she is 19. She is an adult. We can all sit down and have a conversation about who needs to do that laundry and why. Yeah. You know, even if in the past you've done it, your helper's done it, whatever. It's like, these are conversations that are absolutely viable to have, but she's terrified to have them.
It's hard, because like you said, because she has been doing it for so many years, but you can change and you need to change because if not, this resentment is just going to fester over and over again. And you keep having the same conversations over and over again. That's why suddenly people like come and have burnouts or like distress, and they feel like, why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling? Yes. Because you're not facing difficult conversation. Usually there's like somebody that you need to say something to, but you've been holding it inside and it keeps feeding this resentment that you then have. Sometimes people like look at each other after 10 years and like they still talk about a fight that happened 10 years ago because they have not resolved it. Yep. You're only gaining something if you bring this change. Yes. You're not winning if you keep in this negative feedback loop.
Yeah, festering, like you said. Mm-hmm. And also, you know, from the feminist standpoint of this whole thing, this is your daughter. She's 19. Yeah. You need to teach her what it looks like to stand up for yourself. And that's also, true. Like you said, if she wants to be an independent adult moving forward, then you need to learn how to do your own laundry. Yes. So it's like, I'm imparting upon you this wisdom gift. Also take this gift of how to set boundaries. It's like you're doing her a disservice because now when she's in her 50s and she's facing down this same teenage daughter that's making the same thing, all you've taught her is how to cower.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true.
So, I mean,
right. So having conversations is important. But let's say someone invites you out for dinner and drinks and you really don't want to go. And I always find myself making an excuse.
So you mean my daily life, which is every time I ever do that.
Like, obviously, do you need to give an excuse? Do you need to say, I cannot go because I'm busy?
My kids are sick. Yeah.
Or, you know, like, do we need to have a conversation? Can we just say no? Or is it rude to just say no? Like, how do you turn down invitations that's not, you know, something to do with laundry or your husband that you need to have a conversation with your parents, but it's just someone, maybe a friend, maybe a colleague, or, you know, someone who you've just met? How do you say no to them?
You can just try and say, I can't. And then usually they go, okay. Because you have this narrative in your head that you need to spin this big story and there will be meltdowns and people will miss you so much. But usually people will just go, okay, it's fine.
And what if they keep asking you?
And you say, I can't, I'm busy.
Okay. And then eventually get the message.
Exactly. And eventually they will get it. I think it also depends on what kind of relationship you have with a friend, right? I'm sure you feel it as well. The older we get, time becomes so much more valuable. And also the people that you spend this time with. We're very limited in this hustle bustle world that we live in. And we always feel like we need to do something. Who you spend your time with is also very important, that it fulfills you, that it gives you energy, that it gives you the connections, that it gives you something in return. Because if you say yes to a social gathering that you don't want to be at, you're literally just wasting your time. And you also feel like, why did I do this? I had this sometimes with my husband, and that's like how I built also the confidence for these social occasions to say no. I would sometimes come home and I would be driving home after a 2-hour thing, and I would ask myself, why did I do this? So I have this very real conversation in my head. It was like, it really was not eventful. It did not give me anything. It did not enlighten me, this type of conversations, because there's different type of conversations that like social circles have, right? And I said this to my husband, and then he just simply said, so just don't go. And I'm like,
Wow,
yeah.
can I do that?
Yeah.
And then I realized, yes, of course, I can just not go. I will not miss out on anything. Or you just reduce the frequency and spend time with people who inspire you, people you want to have dinner with, people who really fill your cup as well.
And I know those people. I know the people who make me feel energized after I've had a conversation with them, and who I want to spend my time with. And the problem is like you said, you're at this stage of life now where your time is so limited.
Yeah.
And saying yes to the people who are not going to fill your cup feels counterproductive and takes away time from the people you actually do want to spend time with.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And can we even like talk about it instrumentally in Singapore? You come home from that 2-hour dinner and you've also spent like $200.
Yeah.
You know,
Sometimes a bit more.
and like, you know, something I'm working on this year is like trying to reduce my alcohol consumption, right? So it's like, I don't want to contribute to the like 6th bottle of wine going around.
That I'm not drinking.
But you can't bow out of it
Yeah.
because it's like part of the group. You know, it's like all these other, it's like, honestly, time, it's money, it's your social battery, it's everything.
Yeah.
Say effing no.
Absolutely true.
So like, I'm out.
So my husband is the extrovert and I'm the introvert. So when we go out together, he gets it really fills him with energy when he spends time with so many people.
What is that like?
Exactly, what is it like? And me, after like 2-3 hours, I was like, I'm happy to go home and just be quiet. I don't need to talk or like do anything. I just like need to decompress.
Yes.
And when in like busy holiday seasons, for example, like Christmas, you just go like, remember when it was Christmas and you could only have like 5 people?
Oh my God, that was amazing.
That was a glorious Christmas. Yeah, it was though.
Yeah.
But it felt like you would have Christmas dinners every day because you have to go to this person's house and this person's house. It was like so many things. It energizes extroverts because they really need that social energy and they enjoy it. And it's absolutely fine if you're like that.
Yeah.
But if you're more on the introvert side where you feel like I'm okay with just doing once a week kind of dinner with friends, you don't have to do more. Not because who expects it of you? It's only like this own expectations that you set for yourself to fit somebody else's image or society's standard in a way. But if it doesn't fulfill you, don't do it. Because in a way, again, it will drain your battery, it's this emotional well-being, you're mentally just fatigued and exhausted. So you really need to fill your own cup again. Yeah.
What I find is it's actually quite funny. There's always that couple, isn't there? The one that needs the socializing and the one that doesn't. And they always end up together.
Yeah.
It's true. But like we recently went for a dinner and my husband is like, do you want to come? And he's like, A, B, C, D, E is coming. And I'm like, no. And he
said it.
Absolutely fine with that. I told him, you guys are just going to be talking about topics that I have nothing in common with, which is shipping, by the way.
Yeah.
My husband,
Scintillating.
funnily enough, my husband will probably fit right into that.
I was like, I'm going with this group.
Exactly. And he's like, why don't you come? And I was like, I'm going to be sitting there. I'm going to be wondering what I'm doing here. Or somebody will try to explain to me the differences between the ships and the cargoes. And I don't need that. I rather just Netflix with my children at home.
Yes.
You have dinner and maybe I come after dinner and join you guys for an hour for drinks or something. But that's it. But like a sit down dinner to talk about things that
Ships.
are not...
Yeah.
It's, you need to know this is your boundary.
Yeah.
This is something really important to you or not important to you. And you need to also follow through. You need to probably make these mistakes 5 times where you realize, okay, right, this is it.
I realize I think I actually am I'm actually the extrovert.
Funny enough, I'm the
now
extrovert
that
as
you
well.
just said it, I'm like, oh crap, it is me, because I make Tyler do all these things.
Yeah, I'm gonna do these things, but
Yeah.
I don't, so I actually think I've gotten to the point where I used to be the extrovert, like I needed to be out. And now I've somehow flipped. And I always say, I feel like my husband's just kind of dragged me into his way of doing things. But I'm the one now who's like, I just don't feel like I've got the energy for it as much as I used to when I was younger. So I don't know, I used to love it before, but now I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I don't know if I love it as much as I did.
Yeah.
So.
I think like one of the main things that our divide is on, it's not even like introvert extrovert. It's like, I exist in gym clothes, right? Like literally exist in gym clothes. Like makeup is like all I get. Well, so that's the thing is like, I actually crave like dressy time.
Yeah.
I want to have dressy time.
Actually, that's me as well.
I want to have like a necklace on or whatever. And like Tyler, my husband,
Yeah.
never craves dressy time. Are you effing kidding? That dude is gym clothes, scrubs, and scene. Like there is no other thing, right?
Yeah.
So we recently went to a ball. It was our first and only after being here in Singapore for 10 years.
I've had one as well.
And Tyler was like, I can never do that again. Like there's zero time, like a tuxedo, the length of it, it's like a 6-hour production, right? With all the things, and it was an American ball. Like obviously like playing the thing. Anyway, and Tyler was like, I really can't do it again. It's like never again. And I was like, well, I need to put on ball gowns sometimes and
we're going to have to go together instead.
So no problem. So in this year, I'm going to do an all girls table.
Yeah, makes sense.
And we're just going to be pretty princesses together and F it. And none of the husbands need to go. So it's like you find these ways around where it's like, you don't have to, then it's not like, well, you never get to do stuff you want to do, but also like you don't have to drag another person into something against their will.
You don't.
To set your own boundary.
Yeah.
Like,
I think like in a couple, right? It's like you said, you do stuff for one another, but it should not be the expectations that you have to do it all the time. So where you go, sure, I'll come once in a while and it's a nice thing then, but I don't need to do this every Friday night.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's the give and take, isn't it? It's like in every relationship, you've got to give a little and then also take some. Yeah. Because it can't always be giving the whole time. It's too much.
Yeah, I had this with my husband, like Dr. Shefali, she wrote a book about conscious parenting. She was in Singapore.
Oh, she was?
Yeah.
How did we miss that?
It's okay. There was only like a 1 week notice to this. I was also like in shock, but I saw it and I sent it to my husband and I was like, we should go. I didn't say I should go because I know that I should go. I was like, we should go. Yeah. And he's like, you're right, I will go with you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so like he immediately saw the importance in that.
Yeah, because like you do things for each other. It doesn't mean that also you have to say no to everything, but once in a while.
Yeah, you're right. And I think in order to find yourself and be true to yourself, saying no is important, but then also finding out what your values are and being who you want to be is how you're going to basically thrive. Yeah.
And again, never more important than when you're in your 40s, if you ask me. Like if you haven't figured it out by now, it's a long road ahead.
It is. 40s is a new 30s, right?
Yeah.
Yes, girl,
Absolutely.
thank you.
And it's a fantastic time to really discover yourself. If women, but also men haven't had, but I also would like to say there is a growing population of men who, through probably the help of social media and the resources that you have now, are revisiting their childhoods, their experiences and how it shaped them. So they're also going through this self-growth at the moment and having so much more awareness. And I think it's a great generation. I would like to say, like, it's like our generation where we really are trying to be more aware and conscious about how we're parenting the next generation. What values do you want to pass on? Even if you don't have kids, but like, how do you want to live your life? What is important to you? Because the priorities that you probably had in your 30s and 20s are not it anymore. So what can we do to get better? And also to have better conversations with ourselves in our head, because this is the person you're going to spend the most time with in the future. It's yourself. Right. You need to be really attuned to who you are You need to be aware of your values, your boundaries, and you need to be okay with who you are.
This has been an absolutely wonderful conversation. I feel like we've got so much out of it, and understanding who we are, how to say no, and how to say yes to things that we want to say yes to.
Yeah.
But before we go, we do want to ask you one final question, and that is, what's your 40s formula? What piece of advice, mantra, or just some tips you would like to give our listeners on how they can thrive in their 40s?
Know your core values, set your boundaries, and be really attuned to your inner world. I think that's really important.
Amazing. Boundaries, values.
That's very psychology of you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that, doctor. No, I'm just kidding.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Marissa. It has been amazing.
Thank you so much for having me. This was amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, guys, let's talk about perimenopause for a second. One moment you're feeling like yourself, and the next, everything seems to shift. Your body's making changes that can leave you feeling out of control, and that's when it starts to feel like a bit of a roller coaster.
But here's the good news. Strength, both physical and mental, can be your anchor through it all. The right kind of movement, along with the right kind of support, really helps you manage these shifts.
That's why we love Great Moves and their Menopause Mojo program. It's specifically designed for perimenopause and menopause, with pelvic floor support, breathwork, and strength training, all aimed at helping you feel more confident and in control.
Exactly. It's about building resilience in both your body and your mindset. You can't stop the changes, but you can take charge of how you respond.
And that's exactly what Great Moves helps you do. Stay strong and supported through the whole journey.
And we've got an exclusive offer just for our listeners. Use code TFF30 at moves.great.com for $20 off your trial class, or 50% off the 5-session Menopause Mojo program.
Guys, you know we love coffee. And if you want to show us some love, you know you can always get us one.
Just visit buymeacoffee.com/the40s formula.
Cheers.
Before we go, please remember to hit subscribe and take a moment to support the 40s formula by leaving a review on your favorite podcast platform.
Your reviews will help us to reach more people and allow us to continue to bring valuable content. It should only take a moment, and it's a free way for you to support the show.
You can also stay updated with the 40s formula by following us on Instagram at the 40s formula, all one word. We share behind-the-scenes insights, episode updates, and much more, so please be sure to hit that follow button.
We appreciate your time and support. Thank you for being part of this community, and we'll be back next week for more empowering conversations with inspiring guests.
Bye.
Bye. You know, like someone might be on there because their mum has always told them, "Oh, you're amazing and you're great," and then
And they're like,
yeah,
la, 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 la. Oh.
And you go, thank you.
All right, so Marissa, bear with us with this because we're actually semi-new to the teleprompter.
yeah. We
So
always get the speed run.
Ideally, what will happen is we'll do this little intro and we'll go smoothly into the discussion.
Okay.
If we F up,
Yeah.
then we'll just
We'll do
start
it
from the
again.
top. Yeah. So, like,
Yeah.
in best case scenario, you'll see what happens.